Pisces, this is Krishana here with your monthly reading. We're in December now, or we're going to be in December, or you might be watching this in this December. Um, this year, depending on who you are, either went like faster than normal or slower than normal. I think most of us being inside most of the time maybe went faster than normal. But anyway, so. mm, I was meditating on your guys' energy, and this phrase "true north" came up. Um, true north describes. Well, I actually pulled it up. It is true north, the direction along the Earth's surface towards the geographic North Pole or true North Pole. Geodic, geodect, geodectic north differs from the magnetic north and from the grid north. Okay, so um, in sort of like cheesy Disney movies and things like that, you would hear true north is your heart. And the whole thing is a lot of times we can't, we think that when we are anxious about something, or we think that we're super tied to something, or addicted to something, that sometimes we confuse what our heart is telling us with our own fears. I have this phrase, are you in love, or are you addicted to your trauma? And I'm not trying to come for you, but sometimes we are replaying certain traumas, replaying certain patterns, or replaying certain stories that we have adapted into ourselves. And you only find true north by truly diving deep into your own self work. You only find true north, by dealing with your ego and dealing with your fears and reconciling those, and not being afraid of the dark, not being afraid of the um the things that might sort of come, that need to be resolved and stuff like that. Not being afraid, of the unknown, not being afraid that you don't know everything right now. um that's the only way you find true north. You have to know. You have to know, instead of just thinking or believing or feeling. You have to know. And there are certain things that you do know about yourself. um and so just really kind of recognizing that. um I'm going to do these readings a little bit different. I separated the cards out between um the major arcana, which deals more with the archetype of personality, or the archetype of what you are to be embodying, the embodiment, sort of deal. And then the minor arcana is actually more so about the subcontext behind that. Or sometimes it even gives you like steps along the way, like where are you going, what road markers are you going to be looking for, and stuff like that. So we'll see what comes up, but I'm going to go ahead and shuffle those, lay them out, and then we're going to come back with the rest of the reading. Okay, so we start off with the Hermit card in reverse. Okay, I can see that. It's inverted. The word I got is it's what I got is perverted. Meaning, and not, when I say perverted, I don't mean like in a pervert type of way. I mean sort of, it's sort of like when you have an ideology, and then you take that ideology to a point where it causes violence or harm. And so we have the Hermit card in reverse. and where this would mainly be, looking towards the light and sort of going into the tunnel, and being able to traverse over many different difficult terrains in order to sort of find that source of knowledge within oneself. We have the Hermit card in reverse, and I feel like what's happening right now is that because so many things have happened during the year, maybe a lot of hurt from the past, and sort of just feeling really exhausted. I feel like you guys might have come to a point where you decided then to sort of push everyone and everything away. Um, but you're not but it's not even for the purpose of self-knowledge. It's not even for the purpose at this point of of going over the terrains and stuff like that. It's the difference between, going through this spiritual journey and the spiritual process, and then just sitting down and just throwing a tantrum and just saying, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to move forward. I'm not going to move, I'm not going to move to the right or the left. I'm just going to sit here, because if I sit here, then I won't be hurt. And that's not like that's not the deal. It's not the point, you know. So let's go ahead and start with the cards that I have laid out here. We have the seven of swords here. So this would indicate to me, and this is actually really interesting. So you have this guy who looks kind of like a soldier of some sort. Yeah, he looks like a knight, and then he's taking all of these swords kind of in the night. Okay, so you let someone in your camp. You trusted the words that someone had to say. You trusted this particular situation. You trusted. You gave over your power, and thought that you'd be safe. We have the Knight of Rods here. Um, and I think that this indicates to me that, this is probably done through some sort of communication. Um, uh, you're like, I thought I'd be safe, and this person is either putting me down, or I thought I'd be, in a better situation, and this just turns out to be something that I've already sort of dealt with, and then at the end I feel like I have nothing. This also could deal with how your communication might have aided to this particular situation. So we have four of the four of swords in reverse. So instead of taking this as a lesson and being like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to let people in anymore. I'm just going to sit here and stuff like that, which is, it's not the point. you know, um, we're not a victim of circumstance. And I think that that's kind of an important point, because I think sometimes when we are so heartfelt, when we are dealing with so much heartfelt things, I think that sometimes we get into a mode of making ourselves victims of circumstance, and labeling ourselves that, and you carry that with you. And so this is probably isn't the first time you've dealt with this particular situation. And if you don't learn the lesson, and you just kind of shut down, and you don't just do the recuperating process, you don't go through the grieving process, which includes acceptance. If you don't do that, then what's going to end up happening is you're just going to kind of wind up back where you were, and then perpetuating this story of, oh, I'm a victim of circumstance. Um, this is also supported for me here with the Four of Cups here. You see the guy, he has all these cups down, and he has all these cups, and we're not sure if they're empty or full, but definitely he's not paying attention to the blessing that's being offered to him. In these circumstances, in these situations, sometimes you dodge a bullet. Sometimes things don't work out because the universe itself is like, yo, either bigger, or you don't need this lesson. This is not a lesson that you need to sort of go through. And taking it so personally, we forget that. We completely bypass the lesson, and don't really move forward from it. So then it becomes yet another chapter in a story that we're telling ourselves, instead of writing a new book. Um, so we have the 10 of rods in reverse. And so this is telling me you really need to kind of put down the book at this point. There's a sort of a, what is this? I have a word to look up. Give me a second. Okay, this is super interesting. So I got the word revenant in my head, and I was like, reverend, or not reverent, sorry, revenant. I like the movie The Revenant, and I was all like, I've heard this word, I've used this word, but I didn't really have like the Webster's dictionary, definition. And I wanted to express that to you. I felt like this was important. Um, Revenant is a noun, a person who has returned, especially supposedly from the dead. And so there needs to, this is calling, for me, this is calling for a real bounce back. I'm also hearing the song Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. There needs to be this sort of Return of the Mac situation. There needs to be this, people thought that this has kind of leveled you, and in essence, I know like we like to use the phrase "Phoenix rising from the ashes," but really this needs to sort of come with a sort of you know um, uh, Phoenix rising from the ashes with nothing else attached. With nothing else attached, just namaste. Thank you for the lesson. It's time, and so I feel that you're going to be focusing on that during this month, and we have the Knight of Cups that comes up, and so this is going to be a slow recovery. And with that slow recovery, you might actually meet somebody within this slow recovery process that you don't think you're ready for right now, or may not feel, or it might be a projected feeling, meaning like, you might not feel like they're ready, but really you may not actually be ready right now to really engage with them. But I feel like you're going to meet someone in this healing process is going to be actually fairly significant for you in the future. Um, and so, yeah. Anyway, I hope this is helpful, and I hope that this kind of gave you guys some insight. There is a really important date coming up, which I think is super important for everybody, but definitely for you, which is going to be December 21st. Um, I did the Jupiter and Saturn are going to be conjunct. I did a whole video on it. And anyway, that's in my video feed. And so yeah, go ahead and watch that so you kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, hope you guys are good. Talk to you soon.